Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw. Today I'm finishing up the Mastodon Discography for now until the brand new album, which is supposed to be dropping in 2014. Anyways, today I'm reviewing the 2011 release entitled The Hunter. Like Crack the Sky, The Hunter is an homage to somebody as well. This is kind of an interesting bit of information that I learned, and I'm glad that I learned it. Brent, the lead guitarist from Mastodon, his brother was on a hunting trip and he died unexpectedly, and I'm not really sure the full details, but he died during the making of this album while they were actually working on this album in the studio. So as an homage to Brent's brother, they decided to name the title this album, The Hunter, as an homage to him. And this album goes back to the traditional form of what Mastodon was doing for the first three albums, because Crack the Sky was kind of an experimental album in ways. Not musically so much, but in the fact that they were going to write, fewer songs, but some songs were going to be extremely long and something a little bit new to the Mastodon world. And so The Hunter kind of goes back to the traditional way of where we're going to get more songs and the links are not so crazy like on Crack the Sky. Now, in the same sense, it feels like, at least for The Hunter, musically, lyrically, definitely more musically on this album, it reminds me a lot of Crack the Sky. Like, they are still kind of in that mindset, because Crack the Sky, you had these long songs and songs that had a lot of transitions, a lot of things going into it, to where it was like there were some sections that are like, wow, this is brand new type of areas they're going to. Well, The Hunter has, a few songs that are completely different than the rest of the album, and it made me go, wow, Crack the Sky 2.0, am I right? But I'm not saying, oh, they've kind of like rehashed the same stuff. I'm saying is like they're still kind of in that mindset. Perfect example, when I heard the song Creature Lives, that opening chord, that opening riff, really just caught me by surprise, because it was something that I've never heard from Mastodon. I've heard this type of stuff before from other bands, but Mastodon, something I've never heard of before, and it was like just this amazing, beautiful, melodic, clean guitar tone riff. And it just kind of set the song up, and it was just a very different type of song. And there's a few others on this album. So there was that. And this album, I think, musically, lyrically, reminds me of two specific albums, Crack the Sky and Blood Mountain. Blood Mountain with the, more songs, less links than Crack the Sky musically. Now, overall, I think that, just being very blunt about this album, The Hunter, this is an album that I think surprised me the most out of all these albums that I was really, re-listening to, rediscovering, because, I was very obvious and very, what's the word? I'm sorry guys, I'm really messing up and I'm trying to get a take for this review. Anyways, Leviathan was an album I remembered a lot about it, and so that wasn't really a surprise to me. But Remission was a little bit of a surprise. Blood Mountain, I've heard some stuff off there, so, there were still some surprises there. Crack the Sky, experimental route, so I was like, okay, well, the good thing there, it actually worked out for the best for them. But The Hunter surprised me the most, because I remember listening to this album when around the time it first came out, and I wasn't really interested that much. I was kind of like, I still like the old stuff. But rediscovering this album, man, there was a lot of stuff that I kind of just ignored, and I kind of just went, whatever. But man, I'm so glad that I picked this discography, especially for this album, because this is where I discovered the most, and just rediscovered like what I thought wasn't that good before, and it made me go, wow, I was an idiot back then. There's so much melodic vocals, there's a lot of melodies, there's some harmonizing riffs. The solos on this album, I think, are really catchy, and I think that showcase that, Brent in that mindset of, his brother. I mean, because of course, while they were making the album, he just unexpectedly died. So I think that he probably put a little bit more of a thought into his solo work and maybe his vocals as well. But overall, I think that this album, kind of sums up the journey so far for Mastodon. The journey of where they started with Remission, with their, with the tones they were going for that, where they were going for that very sludge type route at the very beginning, and where they've kind of progressed to more of the progressive hard rock. There's still some sludge here and there, but I mean, the band has really, I think, grown, not only in their music and lyrically, but as, as musicians, because you can definitely tell, listening to stuff from Remission to now The Hunter, which is, the latest release so far, that they've really grown a lot. And so let me go through the my personal favorite tracks whenever this thing will load up the old iPhone. Anyways, I'm going to go through my personal favorite tracks and talk a little bit about, them, and then we'll get to the sound of the band, and then we'll be done with this review. Man, The Hunter, great stuff here, great stuff. The first track, Black Tongue, great opener. I love the opening riff. It kind of just like, oh, this sounds like traditional Mastodon right off the bat. And it was a great track to really listen to. Curl of the Burl, track number 2. That was really interesting to listen to as well. It was just like one of those songs that I think just catches your attention and you listen to. Because for that song specifically, you know, it was one of the songs where I had to listen to the musically and then go back and listen to it lyrically and kind of piece the stuff together. Because there's some of those songs where you kind of have to listen to it a couple more times. Not just like one specific time and go, you know, that's it. Not for that song and not for most of these songs. Number 4, Stargasm. Good stuff. I'll say this right now. Some of the actual song titles in this album are just what? But at the same time, you go, it's a weird song title, but at the same time, it's a great song because you can't really argue. But you're going, what? WTF, man? WTF? You know, the typical teenager bullshit. Sorry, guys. What the fuck? Is that better? Anyways, probably my favorite track besides Creature Lives, track number 10. Track number 5, Octopus Has No Friends. Probably my favorite song because number 1, the song title. Number 2, musically. Number 3, the chorus. I love the chorus to death for this track. And I just love the lyrical content on this track. This overall just an amazing track to really listen to. All the Heavy Lifting, track number 6. Number 7, the title track, The Hunter. Great stuff there. Number 9, Thickening. Number 10, Creature Lives. Like I said, that opening guitar riff really caught me by surprise. Spectrelight, I'm probably saying that, I hope I'm saying that correctly, by featuring Scott Kelly, which has been on every Mastodon album ever since they started out. Once again, it does another feature. Bedazzled, Fingernails. Once again, what? Number 13, the Sparrow. And there is some limited edition bonus tracks, and so, you know, if you got those. Track 14 and 15, The Ruiner and Deathbound. I have not heard those tracks, but those are limited edition bonus tracks, but, you know, sticking with the main tracks, but those are my personal favorite highlights. Man, this album just has a lot of interesting song titles. Anyways, let's talk about the personnel and then we'll be done. So let's talk about Troy on lead vocals. And let's talk about all the vocals. So Troy, Brent, Brann, and Bill, all of them, because, you know, vocals always go first. What I love about Mastodon is that their albums don't just feature one vocalist. So you can have one song where it's like one vocalist or one song with 2 or 3. But for this album, there are moments where there's a song with just one vocalist. Okay, well, I get used to that, just one guy. Then there's another song where it's like all 4 of them, or 3 of them, or, you know, it's from 1 to 4, and if you get 2, it's like 2 different ones, and the past one that had 2. They like to mix it up, and I like the fact that each band member can sing and actually do well. So it shows that, you know, it's not just one guy consistently doing vocals and all this other stuff. Lyrically, all the lyrical content on this album is just very fascinating, very interesting to listen to. I highly recommend just listen to a random Mastodon song, any of them, you know, from any album. But if you're gonna listen to an album if you're gonna listen to a song, sorry about that, from The Hunter, I recommend Octopus Has No Friends. Listen to that song, look at the lyrical content, you'll see what I mean by interesting. Let's go back. So let's talk about the actual guitars. Let's talk about Brent and Bill. So let's talk about, you know, Bill and Brent on the rhythm guitar playing. So the rhythm guitar playing is what you'd expect from Mastodon. It is heavy, it is groovy, crunchy. And when it gets to the actual, you know, acoustic guitars that we're talking about, the clean guitar tone, it's beautiful. It's what you'd expect from past releases from Mastodon. So no, you know, gripes or worries. They're like, oh, they're not going to sound like them guitar-wise. And trust me, the rhythm playing on this album is just great. Now, Brent on lead guitars, like I said before, did an amazing job lead-wise. So there's no issues there. I mean, I feel like that the guitar playing on Mastodon albums in general is just something to really listen to and really to get into, because you don't know what's going to happen next, rhythm playing wise, lead playing wise, because lead guitar work in general from Brent is just something to really just grasp and listen to. You have to repeat the solos because there's stuff you're not really catching the first time around. So got to give a lot of props to that. Let's talk about Troy on bass guitar. So we're going back to Troy. The bass playing on this album, once again, can be heard. It's something to really listen to, and you can actually hear it through the audio, through the actual mix. And so, once again, Troy brings his A game, does a lot of cool bass parts, does some great sections where he's following the guitars, and it's some pretty technical sections, so he's keeping up, and there's sections where he's kind of doing his own thing and kind of adding some melodic stuff, or kind of adding a different type of vibe, another thing to throw into the mix. So that was something really good to listen to. And finally, we're going to end on Brann on drums. Brann, you know, I think he's grown as a drummer as well, because on the first couple albums, he was doing a lot of drum fills and going all over the place. Now, not saying that that's completely gone, because it's not. But Brann started from Crack the Sky. It really started there. Now we're on to The Hunter, where he's actually writing, you know, beats that are consistently keep on happening. Something that's going to keep on, you know, going and keep the person have this groove and kind of like, you know, getting this idea of what's going to happen. And so I like the fact that he is actually writing, you know, drum parts, and he's doing his own drum fills and going crazy, don't worry. But at the same time, he's, you know, keeping beat more often. He's not going too crazy on the drum kit from time to time. He's actually keeping beat, because now he has to actually do vocals. And so now, you know, on some certain songs, he can't necessarily go crazy all over the place when he's trying to sing a note. So overall, you know, I think that this is a great album to really rediscover and to really just listen to Mastodon, where they've grown from the first album to here. And so definitely a great album to really get into. I mean, I'm constantly, you know, listening to a track here or there, or, you know, putting a couple songs on repeat or something like that, because I really love this album. It's just an album that I think that showcases where they have come to so far, and hopefully this is an album that they've kind of looked to, and of course all the other ones that kind of go into the 2014, hopefully, new release from the band. Anyways, guys, that is the review. Just wanted to make a quick thing, because I did kind of say, well, guys, I'm trying to get through this review. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I've been trying so hard to get a take for this album review, so I'm glad that I got a take. And sorry if there's not like a lot of information that I kind of maybe not said in this review that I usually say. So, you know, make sure if you're still watching, comment down below if you have another question or something or whatever. So, you know, I'm always open to answering your questions, because I know this video will probably, you know, it probably missed over some stuff. But anyways, guys, so that is the review, and my rating for this album is going to be a 9 out of 10. Great release from the band, and I'm looking forward to the 2014, hopefully, new release. So anyways, guys, that's the review. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, like the video. And if you like me and want to see more, click my name or subscribe to see more. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.